opinions expressed in the following are those of its participants and do not necessarily reflect those of the producers and the Six Talk Podcast Network. Also, the following contains mature material and mild language, which may not be suitable for all audiences. Discretion is advised.
This is the Anime Roundtable Canada on this Friday evening, September 26, 2025. Okay, well, let me just quickly give the socials. AnimeRoundtable.com at Anime Roundtable. Well, what originally we were planning as just a space heater between James and myself, just to catch up, has nicely ballooned into, I guess this is a regular episode, and this would be episode 97 of the version 2 era. Gang's all here. Mike Nicolas sitting at 6 points, 10 minutes south of the Anime North compound, and everybody else is at their usual purchase. James Austin, Amy-Lynn Greig, Kevin Ng. Well, Mo's late. He sent us a text 16 minutes ago saying he was about 15 minutes away.
I thought he was our mystery guest there, Mike.
Well, that's usually Norm or Neil. Well, the Neil thing is
because you don't introduce him, then when he comes on, it's like, wait, was Mo there all along?
Yeah, well, no, that was like when we had Kevin at the very end of an episode. He just logged on. Remember that?
Do I bet a bubble tea that he just won't show up today?
Wow, that's actually an interesting thought.
Well, what bubble tea are we talking about? Like an independent place, Cha Time, Coco?
Cha Time's across the street from here.
Not Coco, at the very least.
Not Coco. Cha Time is at 6 points. Like in overlooks 6 points here.
Do you count Real Fruit as a bubble tea place?
I'll add Real Fruit to that list as well. So not Coco, not Real Fruit bubble tea.
So what does that leave, dude? Oh, the alley. Oh!
Cha Time counts, at the alley, Gongcha.
Yeah. Well, okay. Alley, we're going to talk Demon Slayer at length because Alley has a Demon Slayer promotion going on too. Drinks, promotional cups and stickers. Mango, strawberry, I think green. I forgot the Tanjiro related flavor, so I'll have to look that one up. But yeah, there is a promotion going on with that started this week at the alley. Okay.
The real question is that available in Canada?
It is.
'Cause we know, how sometimes they say, well, it's available here, but not there.
Yeah. Well, we're North America zone. Anyway.
All the alley ones have shown up to Canada, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, the other brand, was it like the Ninja, or what was that other sushi bubble tea place that had like the Pikmin promotion that I don't think got here?
Okay,
Was it Kung Fu Tea?
That's the one. I knew it was martial arts related.
Wait, there was that Pikmin collab that they did. Oh man!
But Kung Fu Tea.
I love Pikmin. That's upsetting.
Kung Fu Tea in Canada and the US, they have, it looks, I don't even know if they're the same company sometimes. Maybe somebody enlighten me later on. It's just that the concepts and logos for both in Canada and the US, I know are a little bit different.
Maybe a different license for who can run the name, I guess, in each country or territory.
Yeah, it could be something to that effect anyway. But and once again, maybe I'm also getting flashbacks to whenever I tried to get into the bubble tea business myself. Okay.
But I was going to tell you, Mike, I did do the homework. I'm not sure if I'm the only one who watched The Last Space Eater with Kevin, yourself, and Mo. That was live on the YouTube.
Well, it wasn't live.
I did a like for engagement because supposedly YouTube, you can't just watch something anymore. You have to engage.
Oh, that's the word?
Yeah, you either have to leave a comment or you have to like or, and the problem is you don't have to engage positively. You can also engage negatively and it will help someone.
How do I put this? First of all, how do I put this? I'm just thinking. Well, it's just my age showing. I'm just saying, right? It's just my age showing with words like engagement and content consumption.
Well, it's interesting, and it kind of is similar to what we'll talk about later, because I'm sure those people are in that zone since they're younger and they're in that content creator space. But speaking of the last episode, we already gave it away because I was gonna joke with you and talk about how I'm a great anime fan. I'm definitely not a tourist, and I really haven't watched it yet. But I was going to say the Downton Abbey anime from UFO Table was fantastic, and it beat all the records. It beat Pokemon. It beat them all. You're saying that Downton Abbey was an anime just wouldn't cut it with the Zoomers?
Well,
Gen Z.
Yeah. Well, you're segueing into something, but I'm not totally sure what.
No, I was going to say,
we're in Gen Alpha now. What are you talking about?
But no, you were talking about the last episode. You talked about the Demon Slayer movie, and I know there was a bit of question marks, but they did break the records with inflation and with the total amount against Pokemon the first movie. So biggest opening ever, either day one or the weekend. It was number one again last weekend. And I think they said it's around 555 million in US dollars worldwide for Demon Slayer for this most recent movie, which supposedly at the moment, you never know, things could change, it has beaten this year Marvel movie, the Fantastic Four movie, which was one of Marvel's supposed to be big thing as a comeback movie for the Marvel universe. You know what I mean?
That's the third try at Fantastic Four, isn't it?
Yeah, and then it's creeping up on Superman, I believe, too.
So I don't know if that's saying something about the Marvel universe or about anime. You can take it how you want, but interesting nonetheless.
I have a feeling that Pokemon's still going to win the home video release competition between the two of them, though.
How much of a home video release are we talking here? That's
the problem. It's Aniplex. So Aniplex is going to be like, we're going to charge you tooth and nail and everything else if you want this. So compared to Pokemon, where it's a mass media release and it's in everywhere you look, right? It's in every supermarket and every whatever. Obviously, that's going to win out. I think compared to more niche.
But Crunchyroll will put out the standard edition for Demon Slayer.
Now, they did that for the first season. I'm not sure if they did it for everything else that followed up. That's the question mark in my mind.
Okay.
I believe they did, but I don't recall 100%. But I'm pretty sure they did.
Well,
And to preface it, that's about all the demon slaying I know, because I think Amy said the same thing. We have not probably seen any of the anime. Now, I'm not sure for herself, but I have not read any of the manga and stuff like that. But I have seen the spectacle, and as one person I was talking to this week said, and I think it's true, it's kind of like the Dragon Ball Z of this decade or this generation.
Probably a fair statement. I mean, we kept talking. We used a One Piece comparable last week, so I guess this is sort of where we are at the moment. And then with some mainstream fingerprinting on it with Channing Tatum's presence. Amy, did you listen to last week's Space Eater? Just out of curiosity. Okay, so you're going in. Somehow I think you'll catch up anyway. I just know you're good at that. But I am curious. Okay, well, we were talking about Sony and the wins and how much they're doing this. Okay, James, give me an impression. So what was your any other thoughts concerning the Space Eater last week, or can I start to pose a few new questions arising from it?
Well, first of all, I'm surprised you guys had forgot that we went to TIFF to go and see Wuthering with You when Makoto Shinkai was in town, and you guys were just all forgetful on that one.
We remembered eventually on that episode.
I know, it took a while.
I wasn't there, though. I
know, yeah, you weren't there, Mike. I remember, I knew.
But
you remembered all the other people that came to TIFF, I know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have a habit of missing out on these things because of work, and work could dictate a lot of things a bit later on. We'll get to the convention scene a bit later. Okay, anything else, James?
I know, you had talked, I know, a bit about Sony, and obviously we may talk later in the episode about the Crunchyroll manga and how it kind of relates, but that we have this as a win, as you said, the Demon Slayer and stuff like that, and then the K-pop Demon Hunters, which is another thing not seen, I'm just seeing outside looking in, which has kind of become a phenomenon for Netflix, and then turning it, because you know how they said, oh, Netflix is just streaming, they're taking away from theaters, and then of course you have this where something becomes a phenomenon, and then they're bringing it to the theaters so that people can experience it, sing it, and stuff like that. It's a different theater experience than probably 20 years ago or 25 years ago, for sure, where it's like you have an engaged audience with the medium, you know what I mean, with the show, and they're singing along.
Well, and this is where I kind of want to start the talk this evening. Actually, I read a little bit more about Sony and how much of a win this could be for them. How much the whole demon stuff, K-pop Demon Hunters, Demon Slayer, how much of a how their run of form really is as of late. And I've had to rethink. I've rethought it a little bit. Okay, it sounds good. It sounds great where the stuff that Sony has pulled off, but is it that big of a win? Because there's this suggestion. Sony, I think Kevin even hinted this. How much faith did Sony really have in K-pop Demon Hunters? They sold off the music. They didn't. The music isn't really theirs, or the rights anyway. And so might have been the case with Netflix. They didn't really have. How much faith did they have in it to end up giving it to Netflix? Did they like? There's this sound. There's this feeling, and just reading around that they didn't have that as much faith. That's why Netflix ended up with it. And what Netflix will make, they're not obligated to give too much more to Sony on it. And Netflix will come out like gangbusters for all of this, including now I think there's some talk about whatever possible sequels will eventually come, and I think Netflix will still get the lion's share of this. Sony may have missed out on a big payday concerning this, but maybe their read of the market wasn't like, it was sound anyway, and maybe this was something that they couldn't see come, that nobody could have really seen coming, considering what the market looked like. How good was the theater market right now? Is this and would K-pop Demon Hunters have been the big thing if it was in theaters? Was it only going to happen because it was presented on a streaming service? And
then maybe word of mouth as well, and people talking online and stuff like that. And the question of maybe their first thoughts are, this is a K-pop animation. How many K-pop fans are going to come see it? How many animation fans are going to come see it? How much more can we grow beyond that, right?
Mm-hmm. So the path is clear when you're looking back on it. Hindsight is 20/20. Whatever cliche you want to use, it's easy to say Sony might have fumbled this, but can we fault them back then for the call they've made?
Well, like if they didn't fumble it, what would the future look like? Like, if they didn't fumble it, is there any good things that would have happened from that?
Well, that's the question, right? Like, what if they did? There's a what if in terms of the way Sony handled it.
But then the question you think about, Mike, is there's that. Obviously, I'm not a creative and I don't have those skills in that, but I can see that there's an organic creative process. Sometimes people can feel that and they get attached to things, and then just spreads like wildfire. We talk, we love, we keep on going, and then you go to the theaters and all that other stuff. And when we say Sony, right? Remember, that's a corporate entity. If they really were like, oh my God, and all this other stuff, then they might start to meddle or put their hands in the process. And then it's like, does that take away from the product, from the organic creative product that people love and enjoy? And maybe they don't know it yet. And so now they have something they love and enjoy. And you say, oh, they're going to make a sequel, or they're going to do whatever later on, right? Well, now Netflix or Sony or whoever, the corporate people are going to probably have their hands in it. And sometimes that can be good. Sometimes never know how that's going to play out, right?
And I think that that's part of like why K-pop Demon Hunters is so successful and such like an amazing story. Like I think the original, like the director is local, from what I remember.
We brought that up. Maggie Ken.
Yeah. So there's this great like growth story of like, I heard about it, from students pretty close to when it was coming out. And I thought it was a series from how they were talking about it. Like they were so enthusiastic, the way that you don't hear people be enthusiastic about movies these days, especially sort of the genre fiction space. Like, and I knew it was an animation piece, so I knew that part. But the way they were talking about it, it seemed like the way people, talk about, the Amazing Digital Circus or Hell of a Boss or Has Been Hotel. Like it was this enthusiastic, like talking about the characters, the growth. So I was surprised when it was a movie. And, now it's, we were talking about, the comparison between Demon Slayer and Pokemon and everything. I don't hear any, it's a different, source or a different genre essentially, but I hear K-pop Demon Hunter songs in stores, in like malls while shopping, which is a really cool experience as a fan of animation in general. Like even the music focused, the Has Been Hotel songs are not radio appropriate, but, it's amazing to hear animation songs that like are very still key to the animation itself. Like they're key to the movie just being played out in the open. Like, of course, if you're going to an anime store or something like that, they're going to play anime songs, or some Japanese restaurants even. Omomo plays Japanese radio essentially, or curated lists. But here is something from a genre fiction animated movie that's just out in the world and getting CBC, stories about it. And it's just in a grocery store. It's really cool.
Yeah. And not sure it would have happened corporately. Maybe, as I said, it's easy to fault Sony, but I'm not so sure any of this would have happened if this wasn't the path taken.
It's like, I mentioned Amazing Digital Circus. I feel that if that was pitched to Cartoon Network, it would have, run 6 episodes, been canceled and locked in a vault, and Warner Brothers would have put a Minotaur there to guard it to make sure no child or adult ever viewed it again.
Or tried to write it off, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, we've seen that before. Don't get to see it at all.
I'm sorry.
But because it was an organically popular series, it now has Spirit Halloween costumes, right? Like there's something to be said. Just recently with Knights of Guinevere, when I saw that series, like the pilot, like I was filled with such a like disappointment that it was a pilot, that a series hadn't been greenlit. And I haven't bought merch yet, but it certainly made me want to buy merch with the hope that more came out. And it's the same kind of thing. That pilot itself is coming out almost sort of in opposition to Disney. So it's kind of a counter, corporate narrative, despite, being everything's capitalism. But, it's it's a very interesting time for animation in so many realms. And unfortunately, the one realm that isn't being served is the all ages bracket, which I think even on this podcast, I've ranted about in the past. But
yes, but
I'm so upset about that. But K-pop Demon Hunters, that's the range. That is what, like, it's a shame it's a movie in some ways, that it's not a persistent storytelling franchise that can, I mean, it's engaging people as much as it can, but it's the closest we've got in like 8-10 years. It's kind of sad.
My 8-year-old niece loves K-pop Demon Hunters.
And you've mentioned this. This is like broad appeal. The I hate to say it, like it may. Now that you put it in those terms, Kevin, I was thinking about like the appeal of something like Frozen 10 more than 10 years ago, right? Like how that enthralled kids at the time.
Yeah, I remember enjoying that first Frozen movie because, spoiler alert for Frozen, it's nice that it wasn't about the prince saving the princess for a change.
Yeah. No, but I mean, but we're talking about the type of impact it's had, right?
For sure.
So, I mean, there's a lot to be said about like just stuff that just sticks out. So there's what it is for Sony, and okay, it's a win, but it's a win, and I guess they take it. Could it have been bigger? I don't know. People want to say they fumbled. I don't know. Because there's this argument to be made that was like, it's easy to say because it became a phenomenon. Sony left billions on left hundreds of millions, if not billions, on the table.
It also sounds like they didn't make it using the Spider-Verse Blood, Sweat and Tears sweatshop, or the Blood, Tears and Sweatshop, maybe, which is a positive, right? Like there was so much controversy over, and rightfully so, how they treated the animators for that second Spider-Verse film. And, maybe they did that with K-pop Demon Hunters as well, and they just hit it better, but I haven't heard anything about that, so hopefully it's not the case.
Yeah. Lots of little elements to this, but there's that. Now, to reel it back to Demon Slayer and Netflix, there's this. I have to find this, but someone made the suggestion this week too. Here's another implication and another possible fumble for Sony. There is Sony does have an agreement with Netflix over Demon Slayer, as to the current anime series running. But somebody made the suggestion that somewhere in all of this is a possible live action, and that Netflix has the rights to that.
Oh, kind of like with One Piece.
And that Netflix has watched the success of Infinity Castle and are now really focusing on a live action.
Does Netflix have a Japanese production studio?
That's an interesting question, isn't it? Right?
I don't think they do, to my knowledge, but I know for some of the anime that they get the rights to, they have input in what gets made in Japan. Because I don't see a universe where, like, Baki would have existed otherwise, for example. Like, that, I believe, was Netflix Japan putting in the work to, like, help get that made. Mm-hmm. And now you have, like, middle-aged white men knowing what Baki is because they just want to find something to watch, and it suits their interests.
Yep.
Because Baki is all about just being the shit out of each other.
Yeah, it goes to my demographic, I guess. Look,
Like you can make a international / American One Piece. I don't think you can make a American Demon Slayer. I mean, you can, but it's not gonna be. It's gonna be a name only.
It's gonna end up
It's
like
it's a little too Japanese.
So,
but I feel there is relationships because it wasn't just animation and anime. I know Netflix Japan, I feel they were doing stuff with maybe some other things live action wise in Asia, in Japan and stuff like that. So if they have those contacts, maybe they can set something up to have it done in Japan the right way. But
I'm sure there's a partnership or something they can.
Western My Hero Academia, on the other hand,
genius idea. I'm so angry it's not being done, and it's probably development hell forever. That would be a dream project.
Like, I don't see how that hasn't happened yet. Well, I could, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, I will add one more nugget to this in terms of the streaming future and what's going to happen. It's worth noting that Sony and Crunchyroll have stated that they don't intend. I mentioned this last week. There doesn't seem to be an intention to put it on streaming services before the end of 2025. So we're looking in 2026. And when it does happen, it sounds like there's a degree of exclusivity, maybe limited exclusivity, to just Crunchyroll initially. So, and maybe this is where Netflix's motivation is on concerning any possible live action, should they actually have that in their pocket. So, because they may not be able to do at Infinity Castle for a little longer than they hoped. So those are the things surrounding Demon Slayer as it goes into its third weekend in North American theaters, and the parts that have my attention beyond that. I wonder how
thinking about it, Mike. Before we stop, you said you had gone back onto Crunchyroll, right? So did you notice on the desktop, and even when I'm doing it on the TV, they have a widget for the last month for Demon Slayer to get tickets?
Oh,
how many series do you ever see for something like that? You can tell it's big when they're telling you should be going to see this
I've had
a physical location that is not your home.
Yeah, I've had it come up as a pop-up on the app. So
but it's like they are pushing.
They are pushing. I would say, yeah, they are really pushing. They are really pushing.
I'm not sure they needed to, but I'm saying they're still pushing.
Well, and then we just mentioned the Alley having their Demon Slayer promotions, which Squirrely actually sent me the information. So I'll give me a second. I'm going to look it up just quickly, just so I know exactly what it involves. Anyway, okay, so I said I mentioned it's a strawberry flavor for Nezuko. Inosuke and Zenitsu have a mango coconut one, I believe. They're sharing that part of the promotion. Tanjiro, for what it's worth, will have an avocado mochi milk tea. That's the promotion. That's the promotion. Promotional cups to go with it and stickers. That's the merchandise at the Alley now. No, we're not paid to say that. Anyway, so as I said, this is the stuff. That's just the stuff that'll have my attention. As we go about in the third week. And it's for what it's worth, since you guys mentioned where you are in the series. Mo mentioned he's now and I'll speak for Mo on this one, and then he can rebuff me by the end of the episode, assuming he shows up. He has been watching. He took out a Crunchyroll subscription as well. So he has been watching and is in the middle of Entertainment District, probably a little further than I am in it. I finished episode 3. I think it was episode 3 within the last couple, yesterday. So I'm in the middle of Entertainment District. I guess, what is it? Swordsmith and Hashira Training are the next 2 arcs, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, and I want to get caught up as much as possible before any possible watching of Infinity Castle. On that note, Mo seems eager to drag me to see that. But something tells me I really do want to get as caught up as possible concerning Demon Slayer so as I don't feel lost or feel cheated in any way if I see Infinity Castle before I should. Anyway, those are the thoughts. Those are the thoughts, as I said, going into the third weekend of the Demon Slayer movie here in North America. Okay. Are we done with that topic for now? Or
we can say maybe we can figure out what movie we can see together. Maybe we can go see Angel Egg in November or something like that.
I'd be down to see Angel's Egg, actually. I've never seen it.
What was it? The next Aniplex one that's coming on, I think that's coming out later in the year. What was it? Virgin Punk? That was from the Mezzo Forte creator.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yasumi Umezu?
Yep. It's going to be like action, kind of like that. Obviously not adult and stuff like that. I'm not going
to use Daryl Surratt's nickname for him, by the way. So, if you've ever heard Anime World Order, you'll know the references.
I'm blanking out on this, actually.
Which one?
I'm blanking out on what that nickname you're referring to is, and I've actually been catching up with Anime World Order.
I'll tell
recently because they're finally on Spotify.
Oh yeah,
after resisting for years to not be on there.
Really? Well, that's that's Surratt for you. And I'll tell you off air. Okay. Everyone else, listen to AWO. Okay. Guess that's enough for enough Demon Slayer talk for now.
You know what? Thinking of it, Mike, we probably should just transition Sony and Crunchyroll into the other thing they announced since we have Kevin with us. Because they're have their strength in anime, and then there's the manga part that they gave up on, remember? And they said, you know what, maybe we'll go back and do some manga later in the year. And they were very quiet. And then this week, I think it was yesterday, it exploded. And they said they gave pricing and everything.
The Psy, Kevin says, you don't seem too impressed at the moment.
So they have the publishers they've got is Alpha Polius, Compass, Square Enix, Viz, Yen Press, and then obviously with Yen Press you have J Novel Club coming later. Shueisha's also in there. Kodansha, who helped them originally, remember, and then created their own thing with K Manga, is nowhere to be seen. Also Seven Seas, nowhere to be seen, but they still seem to have quite a few publishers on board. They talk about launch titles, which I think we can guess the market they're going for when we hear One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen, and so on and so forth, like My Dress Up Darling, Delicious in Dungeon, and so on and so forth.
Basically, it sounds like the mainstream within our fandom. Right?
Yeah. Now, the interesting part is, remember before that it didn't matter what membership you were on, you always got manga, right? You got the Crunchyroll manga thing. And yes, it was just on the browser a lot of the time. So for this, they're launching in US and Canada on October 9th for iOS and for Google. And then they said for the, I guess, browser, so online, the browser will probably be close to October 15th, they said. But it's going to cost us. So if you are in the top tier and stuff like that for Crunchyroll, which is the ultimate fan, where you're paying God knows how much money, guess what? You don't have to pay extra for manga. But if you're cheap like me, who is a Crunchyroll fan, the lowest tier, and if you're like Mike, who's in the middle tier, which I think you're a mega fan, Mike, you have to pay more to get access to the manga and stuff like that. So it's an extra fee for you. So they actually have US and Canadian pricing. So since we're in Canada, why don't we do the Canadian pricing? So for a fan, it's said basically that plus manga, it's going to be $15.49 Canadian per month. So the manga add-on to your mega fan account, Mike, is $5.50 Canadian per month. Oh, that's for fan. That's for me.
You got 50
and so
cents,
you're,
right?
you're the mega fan. So the mega fan is $17.49 Canadian per month if you include the manga. So the manga adds on to the mega fan for you, Mike, $5.
$5.
So you get a $5 extra charge if you wanted it. I get a $5.50 extra charge if I want it for the regular fan.
Who's the prime minister on the $5 bill?
That was Laurier.
It was Laurier. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Wilfrid Laurier.
but it would be interesting to see. Like, I would wait, see how it goes for how we're going to read it, because we don't know, are they going to use the same reader? What's going to happen? I know they had talked about that you actually have to pay. There's not going to be a tier where you can just read it and then have ads show up, which some readers do. You have to pay up or shut up, basically. So it's how it's going to be. And then they basically said that fans headed to New York Comic Con next month can check it out if they want and stuff like that. So they're going to have some demos, I guess, at places around the country and stuff like that. And that the catalog will grow with those publishers we had talked about. So it'll be interesting to see how they do compared to, as we know, what Viz and Shueisha and all of them have done with the Shonen Jump app, and then obviously, what was it, Manga Plus?
Manga Up?
Manga, yeah. Well, I think they're the gold standard at the moment that people have gravitated to. But they had the Shonen Jump manga, remember?
Yeah. Oh, who's the gold standard? Oh, Shonen Jump?
Yeah, because
Shonen
they have
Jump
the content,
and
now obviously they're going to share some of that with Crunchyroll manga, which is interesting to think about.
Well, I mean,
you would think they would say, well, why do we need to share with you?
Yeah, but maybe there's...
Katakawa makes sense, because remember we had talked about that Katakawa went into a partnership with Sony in Japan. So I wonder if that partnership helped them get some contacts to say, hey, we'll share some of our content with you. Whether it's manga or anime.
I mean, it's sort of like, once again, it's sort of like sharing Demon Slayer between Netflix and the Crunchyroll anime service, and then Hulu as well. So it's like, the thing is, here I am personally. I mentioned that I was going to and fro with taking out a Manga Up subscription, because there's been some titles there that I've wanted to read, right? And I guess it's a wait and see for me concerning concerning Crunchyroll manga. And for reference, I'm not doing a subscription on any of the manga stuff or manga services. So there's that's where I am, I guess, on this. I wonder, since they make since there's an annual version of these tiers.
Obviously, there's an annual, probably, that you would add an annual amount for the fan and the mega fan tier, or what they're trying to do probably is upsell us to the ultimate tier and say, guess what? You get your manga, you get your anime, and oh yeah, you get your discount at old Right Stuff that isn't Right Stuff anymore.
Yeah, import cost supply. Oh, and there is a Canada Post strike going on, by the way, up here. So that's another story. Okay, Kevin, you sighed. Oh, what do we do? Get a response from Kevin for this, or do we welcome Mo finally around the table for tonight?
Hi, Mo.
What's up?
Hey, Kevin.
You finally showed up. All right, do we get...
Are you coming bearing gifts? I heard last time you were bearing gifts.
I mean, only in person, man. You got to show up in person.
No digital gifts?
I'll give a local...
I don't think so, James.
In a bit. Okay. Do we let Kevin? Do I let Kevin? Kevin, do you want to give an opinion on this, or do I give Mo the floor? Going back to Demon Slayer for a second, because I know I know if I say Demon Slayer live action, he may go off.
Did you guys already talk about it?
We did go.
I'll let Mo go first.
Okay. We did go. Okay, so just to recap, Mo, since you're late. Yeah, we did go at length. We did go at length on Demon Slayer again. We talked a little bit about Sony, how much of a win this is for them, and because we talked about this earlier today too, right? On the phone, is this as big a win as we said it was last week, or was there never going to be a big win? Or because there was this potential that it could have been more huge if they handled it themselves, or was it a losing situation in that sense? This is the best route they could have taken. Right? That was part one. And part two is that apparently Netflix may have the rights to a live action Demon Slayer. develop it themselves. And compound that to the fact that right now Crunchyroll isn't planning to put Infinity Castle on any streaming services before the end of 2025, and when they do, it'll probably start on Crunchyroll exclusively, at least for a limited time.
I could see being like a holiday release for them.
Hollywood?
A holiday release.
Oh, holiday.
Make it a big thing. I hear you. They probably will hold off on that. But live action, that's tough, man. I mean, are we talking like One Piece level live action? Are we talking Cowboy Bebop level live action? Are we talking English? Are we talking Japanese?
Did you watch Death Note on Netflix there, Mo?
The English and the Japanese one.
Yes. Okay. Well, but then those are I think the questions that just came up, because this is a very, very Japanese story. Right?
Exactly.
And like you could I think the others were in agreement. You could get away with doing an international production with One Piece, because it's a very international character set. International.
Also, it's an international, like, it's in a different universe and stuff, but I get it. I mean, I feel like because of how Japanese Demon Slayer is, it'd be very difficult to do an international production of it. Maybe they could do a JJK, American adaptation for that. I think that could possibly work, but maybe not Demon Slayer.
Well, or maybe that will still happen. Well, when we talked about, okay, what type of Japanese production means does Netflix have? So
I do think Jujutsu Kaisen would be a little more feasible, because there wouldn't be as much, like, whitewashing it wouldn't be as bad with Jujutsu Kaisen than it would be with Demon Slayer.
Yeah, well, they have
exactly.
Well, remember, Sunny Chiba's son Makenyu
bad
is always available.
I think all of you are giving American adaptations way too much creative credit. As much as, an American set, Jujutsu Kaisen or My Hero Academia will work and would be amazing and would be fun and it would expand the world, it's going to be a Death Note situation where, like, Deku's name is going to be like Mickey, something, whatever.
It's going to take place in Seattle, and you're like, why are we here?
Yeah, and they're gonna, for whatever reason, they could make, like, there are American My Hero Academia characters, so they could adapt, they could make new ones, they could have cameos, like Eraserhead could show up like he does in Vigilantes or whatever the other one's called. But, like, they're not going to do that. They're going to have Deku being a kid from New York that has to go to UA High, and that's going to stand for, like, United States American, whatever. Like, it's
believe me, Amy, I'm still, like, I think it could work, but I'm still very jaded, and it could definitely, like, it's likely to fail, because we only have had arguably 3 good Western live action adaptations of Japanese anime or manga.
I was about to bring up
2, technically 2, debatably 3.
List them off again one more time for both our listeners, will you?
So, One Piece, Battle Angel Alita, or just Alita Battle Angel is what we call it in North America. And you can make the case for Speed Racer.
Oh, dude, come on, man. What about Cowboy Bebop? That was pretty good.
That was
Think of it this way, Kevin.
If
they had gotten Monster out of development hell at HBO, that could have been a good series.
You brought that up back in last month too, and
I know, because that would have been a very intriguing proposition. But it's a unique situation. Takes place in Europe and stuff like that. You find the actors and stuff like that, and you can make it happen. But it's a very rare thing to happen, right?
I was about to say, well, Kevin probably hit it on the head too. Fandom is jaded about these type of things.
What was that weird live action show? Was it called Guyver? Is that a thing? Mark
years
Hamill's
ago.
in it, right? Like
That
I've
was
heard.
years
There's
Yeah.
a Western Guyver?
There is.
Yeah,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
know
wow,
Mark,
I guess
I know
I-
Mark
Before any of
Hamill's
our
in it.
time. I do remember
Well,
that.
I must have put it in the back of my head somewhere.
I probably blocked it out. I forgot.
I need to look into this.
Yeah, it's
It
that
gets
did-
brought
it
up.
does
It gets
exist.
brought up when people ask the question, "Have there been any good, like American adaptations?" I don't know if the answer is it's good, but it does always get brought up. So
Well, it's Mark Hamill too.
yeah,
Nothing wrong with that's never a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing to have him associated in whatever form. Okay, there it is. Okay, now Kevin, Mo, you're done your thought.
Oh my god, I didn't know there. I never knew this whole time there was a Western adaptation of Guyver the Bio Boosted Armor. Oh my god.
Well, there you go. I
Wow.
do remember it. I blocked it. I forgot.
No, but like, someone would have brought it up like at some point in my life, but it just never. No one did.
Yeah, and how many years has that been? Long enough.
Long enough. Oh, I'm in my 30s. I'm not ashamed to admit that.
Yeah, I'm not. Okay. Okay, so going back to the Crunchyroll manga, what's your thought on this, Kevin? On Crunchyroll manga on the service before, and then we move on from it.
Well, I'm guess it's nice. Let me restart that in case you feel like cutting that out.
No.
I guess it's nice that they brought it back. I'm not surprised that Grandpa Sony decided to charge money for it to be brought back.
I'm not either, for that matter. But I think it's
So now they will take over the manga verse, just like the anime verse, right, Kevin?
That I don't think so.
that one. I'm skeptical
There's too many players in the manga space
in the digital
in
manga
Japan
space.
for that to happen. But never say never, I guess. But I don't think they could ever own manga in the same way that they own anime now, quote unquote.
Well, the good news is that unlike anime, where obviously more people are watching it online, less physical and stuff like that, you could almost say it with video games too. Manga, people are doing it online stuff, but there's still a vibrant physical market. People want to touch and feel the books, the manga, and stuff like that. So that's always a good thing to keep in mind, right?
Yep. And
Crunchyroll, we know how much they love things physical, right? Unless it's merch.
And I always like to think that the female demographic is the type that will buy books and are not as likely to wait for discounts. So I feel like if you can support them, they will support you.
Sounds like my mom. Anyway,
the interesting thing, though, too, I had mentioned the thing. So obviously, they're going after the shonen market. Obviously, that's who came in 2020 and kind of buoyed the sales of a lot of publishers in the manga sphere and the anime sphere and all that stuff. So it'll be interesting. You start with shonen and all that stuff, but how much is the diversity going to be in the manga they bring over from all these publishers and stuff like that? Are we going to see more shoujo? Are we going to see more seinen? Are we going to see other things? You know what I mean? And that'll be interesting to see as they go along, maybe in the next year.
Well, we are seeing more shoujo again. We're even seeing more shoujo anime being made again after like the big drought of the mid-late 2010s to early 2020s. So yeah, I think it'll be okay.
Have they announced that if they're going to use human beings as a translation service, or
oh wow,
are they gonna do the stupid thing?
Well, all the series so far, Amy, are just ones that already exist and have been translated. So they've been translated by humans and stuff like that. But we don't know which one. No, it wasn't manga. No, it was Orange. Was that the one? Orange was the one where they were talking about translating with AI and stuff like that. We haven't heard about that from Crunchyroll, but I know we had talked before, right, Mike, about some of the things the CEO has said about using AI to help them and stuff like that. So you never know what's possible. And there was the one series from the summer season, so just early in July. I'm can't remember the name of it now. And I know we
this
had
sounds
talked about
familiar.
like where they had the chat GPT says, and then it had the German line and stuff like that. And they're like, what's going on with this in episode 1?
If
Yikes.
by help they
Yeah,
mean
caught.
they're going to use ChatGPT to help them write a grocery list so they can fuel their human translation, then fine. I don't love it, but I think that could be a valid use of a generative AI service. But don't love it, but still fine.
Luckily, so far, I think it's just orange. It looks like Crunchyroll is going to be taking existing stuff we already have, but the future is the thing where, as you said, we don't know what the future is going to hold. So hopefully we speak with our wallets and they'll keep it in the back room. You know what I mean?
See, I'm an advocate for AI when it comes to making things like that. Like, whatever can save you time in your personal life, I think is not a big deal. But if you're like trying to replace people, and because remember, I've said this before, translation is an art. And a lot of people who read scanlations don't seem to understand this too, actually, because I see these discussions like on the internet from time to time. But
go for it.
When you're like replacing things, when you're replacing like art, whether it's translation or like creating AI art and stuff like that, that's where I think it's not cool.
You're that Bell.
Yeah, I was about to say, tell that to Bell after Fan Expo.
I was gonna say we hadn't talked about Fan Expo, and I remember that was the big thing
go there for
at Fan Expo and stuff like that.
Let's transition there for a
second. And you're thinking Bell, the biggest corporation in the country, and they did that. But as we say, garbage in, garbage out, and stuff like that. And AI can be good, but as a tool, it's a tool in the toolbox. And the one area I'd say anime where we have seen it good is what was it? Discotheque and Media OCD using
AstroRes?
Yep, AstroRes to help with the older. So AstroRes for the older programs to kind of bring it up and stuff like that for the image and all that stuff. And as they said, it's a tool in the toolbox. We can't use it for everything, but they use it here and there. And if it works, they will use it with the permission of the licensor and stuff like that to help some of the older shows, especially the ones that were from the early aughts and Digipate, where they were transitioning and stuff like that from cell to digital and all that stuff.
I feel AstroRes is justified, like, because I feel like if they didn't need to use it, they wouldn't.
Enhance, but not replace.
Mm-hmm. It's a tool in the toolbox. It's how you use it. But some people think it's a cure-all? It's not a cure-all. If you use something like that, you're going to get burned very hard.
Yeah.
But what about Fan Expo? Was there any good news from Fan Expo other than Bell?
I mean, the Gachapon store apparently gave away one of their precious $1 million coins. So that was kind of them to drop the peasants a bone if they pay $90 to get into this place, and then they can save $7 off of a triple the price Gachapon pull. Yeah, that's a nice thing, vaguely.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, Bandai. I love your store, but it's ridiculous. It's cheaper to get on a flight to Japan and pay for some Gachapon in the airport than it is to go to your store. I'm not saying I'm not going to go back, but the last 2 times, no, I've only been.
So should we save our money and go to Union Station? Is the Gachapon place still there?
It's still there. They raised their price about a month ago. So it is, I think now $4 a token. I did the conversion, and I think something that should be equivalent of, let's say, $5 is $16.
Oh.
one pull, right? So there's different tiers at this store where, certain products like the tiny little cell phone charms will be 1 or 2 tokens. So that now is $12 plus tax.
You can go to like Temu or Taobao for that stuff.
Yeah. Whereas, like, if you're looking at one of the larger items, so your Madoka or JoJo replica outfits, your stag beetles, butterflies, like the scientific models or the unique Tamagotchi, like giant Tamagotchi things, those are about $5. So you're looking at like $30 for some of these things that are not that expensive in Japan. And like, I get the import fee. Like, I'm not, I'm complaining as someone who would really love to go to this gachapon place. Cause I love gachapon, especially like the physical, objects that are in little capsules. Less into the boxes, but, anyways, like I love the aesthetics of the capsules and even the machines. Like, I would love to buy products of like a replica machine. Like, I find it fun. But it's really toxic. Like, gacha in general, like, there's a reason why, the gambling comparison or, the gambling existence or it's
or the accusation
gambling.
or the discussion concerning it is there.
Virtually or in reality.
We've talked about this before, yeah.
But like, if you're in Japan, I feel that like, if you see, the cool Deltarune Undertale, rubber charm things, you can spend $10 and get 2 or 3 of them easily. And at least, and be like, oh, cool, I got a character that I like. Versus here, you're spending $20 and like, oh, I didn't get one that I liked. And then you have to hope that you got one that someone on the Discord trading server likes and that you can meet up.
There's a culture for that in the in store. Sometimes.
And and Amy, correct me if I'm wrong. They don't do the sumimasen at the Spare Time Gachapon store, do they?
What is that?
Basically, so in Japan, it's kind of honor system based, but if you play it for a little while and you can't, this is more so for claw machines, I'll admit.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, so I guess it wouldn't apply here. So I guess I'll take that back, but I'll explain what I was misinterpreting. So let's say if you go to a claw machine place, so this is not Spare Time. Because right now, Spare Time is just the gachapon machines, to my knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go to like a claw machine place in Japan, most places you play for a while and you get kind of stuck. You can ask for them to replace or move the thing you were trying to get back to a more accessible spot so you can try again. And like you'll be in a better shape to actually win it. Whereas claw game machines here, like the claw game stores here, I don't think they do that here.
Well,
I was misinterpreting because I kind of mixed it up between gachapon and claw machines.
Yeah, like the claw places here are, different than the UFO catcher establishments in Japan, since here the objective is to like win as many little cheap products as possible and then trade it in for like a blind box or something. Versus in Japan, they don't, at least, I mean, I haven't been there since 2017 or 2018. But from what I remember, you're actually trying to win the prize that you want. It's not like a Chuck E. Cheese sort of system.
Okay. Now it's okay. I'm getting it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So even at like a Claw and Kitty type place here, I don't think that would be a factor for most of their machines. Maybe a few of them, sure, but because they kind of are setting up them as places where you'll go and like spend an hour and, you're going to spend $30, $50 and, try to win as many of these little partially easy to win prizes as possible, and they end up like being like Chuck E. Cheese tickets, and then you can trade those in. And that keeps people coming back, because then if you don't win enough, you can come back another time and build up your points, unless, the place shuts down. Or
they change the system.
Yeah, exactly.
And it would have been cheaper to just buy it yourself.
I mean,
But it requires you knowing where to buy it.
I mean, I think I mentioned this before, and this is, I think, a concept Squirrelia reminded me of. You know, the blind boxes and all that. If you get something you don't want in the blind box, sometimes there's already an item that's already been opened, available, and you can do the trade for that.
I know
the
Banana
concept.
Games did that. I don't know how much Pokemon blind box products they sell now, but during the earlier part of their existence over the last few years, when they had a lot of those types of products, they did that, where they'd have the open display piece to draw people into buying the blind boxes, and you could just swap the one that you got with their display piece if you prefer it. So I like that.
Yeah, that's a concept,
quite
and that's a concept. Now, as for when you say Pokemon, it's McDonald's level type stuff these days.
Scarborough has a store that does that too. They're in the
cool.
Midland Finch, right?
The Midland Finch area, yeah.
That's where I saw it. Actually, that's where I saw it. With the Empress, by the way.
So not in the Bubble Tea Plaza specifically. Well, I like to call it the Bubble Tea Plaza.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah,
I think I do too, actually.
The clusters of stores next to the Bubble Tea Plaza, and then they also had like a little artist alley, like section of the store too. So it wasn't just pure blind box stuff. So artists could rent a space to sell their
wares.
Well.
Yeah, basically on sort. Quasi consignment, I guess. I won't go that far, but
you're essentially renting the space.
Yeah,
It's are getting more and more popular. There's many around the city,
and then I think the Well has one too. So
yeah.
Oh,
actually, one of the stores in that area, in that Midland Finch area, has a presence at the Well. Okay. Okay. Well, there's the thought. Maybe we should move on because we're an hour into this mess today.
Just because it's sort of related to the experience of the Gachapon store, I do want to, I guess, semi-shout out the Japanese arcade that is now in Chinatown, which is really cool. It's called Yume. It is mostly music games, but it is the only Taiko no Tatsujin
where is it?
Arcade machine I have ever seen in Ontario, which is amazing. They
didn't know that existed.
Yeah, they had a presence at the CNE this year, which is how I found out about them. But like all the current modern popular music games are there, including what seems to be the kind of people who would, camp out at those machines with their gloves and their tapping.
Custom equipment. Probably
not custom equipment, but headphones for sure. But so it's great to see Taiko no Tatsujin there. At the CNE, they had a dancing stage, so futuristic evolution of DDR. They do have DDR there, which is fun. They have an old pop-in music, the Dance Maniacs that you might remember from Union Station. I don't know if it's the exact machine, but it's there. So an old 90s, or I guess the pop-in, an old 90s machine. The pop-in music is contemporary enough that they have Undertale songs on there.
Wow.
It's expensive, but not unfairly expensive considering the fact that they have giant Japanese music games. There is a row of racing games. There are some fighting games that were off when I was there at the physical location on Spadina, but they were definitely in operation at the CNE, so it might have just been they were still unpacking from the CNE when I went there. And there's some very sketchy looking mahjong rooms. It's not the prettiest setup, but it's really cool that Toronto, for the time being, has a Japanese rhythm game arcade.
Where is it exactly?
Yeah, I'm wondering.
I only know it in relation to other things on Spadina. So it's close to Grossman's Tavern and the parking garage. It's not too far a walk from either of those. So if you are going to Kensington Market, it is relatively nearby there.
Okay.
South of College.
South of College? Okay.
So near A&C Games, just south of there, huh?
I think a little bit south of ANC.
I was about to. Okay, I did want to talk about visiting Chinatown briefly a couple weeks ago myself.
I tried to segue the best I could.
They're beside a clothing shop I like.
Yeah,
and then that clothing shop is right beside. So I'm referencing Uncle Otis, and then beside Uncle Otis is Anime Extreme.
So okay, so I did go there. I did visit Anime Extreme. I did visit Chinatown Center, where Kiki Y once existed.
And I think Anime City is still there, I believe, as well.
How long has Anime City been there? That's the first time I saw that place.
It's been over a year now. I think it's 2. I don't remember, though.
School place. That's an old school place, right? And I tried to visit One Shot Manga Cafe. But
because they're in Chinatown Center as well.
Yeah,
actually.
They're only open during weekends. It's closed. It was closed when I passed by. So it feels like a shell of its former self. But then again, maybe I'm one of those that harken back to those days, 25, 30 years, almost 30 years ago, when places like Kiki Y existed there. But yeah, it felt a little, more rundown than I could ever recall it.
Because they're sharing a space with another store, right?
Yeah, I believe so. As I said, I haven't really gotten a sense of it because it was closed, so I don't really know too much else about it, right? 222 Spadina shops. I think there's an Instagram for that.
Because the thing is, like, Chinatown Center is kind of like a weird anomaly in that, like, it seems like the rent for those stalls are still, like, at least from my perception of it, is that the rent's not that bad there. So that's why you'll see some shops that you would have otherwise never seen in Chinatown Center or in Dragon City or even like places like Pacific Mall, like back in the day. It's because the rent is cheap enough that it's worth the risk for them to open a retail storefront there. But then you have to trust that people can find you on social media, because Chinatown Center is not that busy nowadays.
No, it isn't. As I said, I jokingly said it almost brought a tear to my eye, right? Walking through the area. But then again, after working 12 hours before that, maybe I'd be crying for other reasons too.
Because the thing is that so there are still Chinese people that live in the general vicinity, and you do have several Vietnamese stores that have opened up shop since as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is that much of the Chinese diaspora has moved north. They now live in either Agincourt in Scarborough.
East End.
So that's like Shepherd and I think Shepherd and
Kennedy.
Yes, that's right. Or they live in Markham or Richmond Hill.
Mm-hmm. So,
and you still have pockets in Mississauga and Oakville now, because there's the whole rich Chinese stereotype. But a lot of that diaspora has moved north. At least like the original like Cantonese Chinese diaspora has moved north for the most part. There are mainland Chinese people that do like live in the area as well, but they kind of live throughout.
Yeah, that's a little bit more spread out. So, but there you go. I don't know what else.
Yeah, not a lot of Chinese businesses.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I guess I'll have to do a longer look at through Chinatown when I have a little bit more time. But hey, thanks for talking it out with me. Maybe I can have a longer therapy session with one of you in a space heater about that in the near future. But I will. But Yume Arcade, maybe I have to give myself more time to check out the area. I just didn't that day. Anyway, therapy session complete with Chinatown. Okay, let's complete the bullets before we go tonight. James, you put up a couple of items. So where do you want to start?
We might, you know what? We might as well.
Or do you want to?
I think you know what? I think we'll just do one of them and it's one that's kind of developed over the past month. And so it's weird because when we think about it, I know for us, Mike, right? And we think about all those years ago, Yama and stuff like that. And I'm sure even Amy can have her thoughts on that and how we got into anime, obviously, and well, probably before that, but I mean, really into it when you're going to university and meeting new people and stuff like that and experiencing the different genres and stuff like that. And I don't think when we were in university and when we were going to clubs like Yama and all those other things, going to Anime North and things like that, yeah, you were having new experiences. Yeah, maybe you had criticism, or yeah, you saw something, you're like, you know what, I don't really like this, so I'm just going to try something else or do whatever. But it seems like the new flash phrase or word or whatever is anime tourists. And that's happened since, I guess, it became even more popular mainstream in 2020 with COVID and us all being locked down. But as I would say, some of them, I guess that the reason they call them tourists is that they're coming in. There is some enjoyment, especially on the shonen side. But then I guess when they go to explore other things, they don't, I guess they don't have the same feel for it, or they feel, oh, maybe this shouldn't exist or all this other stuff. So a few people saw a thing on YouTube from an anime YouTube group called the AnimeMen.
Oh, we're talking about this.
Yeah, okay. And so the AnimeMen was interesting because there's another person on AniTube on YouTube called the Anime Man, Joey, from Trash Taste. And so they kind of riffed off him. And the AnimeMen, it's interesting, their YouTube channel, they have over 4.5 million subscribers. So that's a lot of subscribers. And they've only been doing this for at most a few years. And you're looking at the channel and it's not a lot of long form content. They have these ones where I guess they cosplay and then do some music videos and stuff like that. But it looks like that's to generate eyeballs so that people will go to their YouTube shorts and TikToks. So that's where they're making their revenue and stuff like that. And I guess that's where the younger generation is going, is they're going for the short form content. But it was their long form content, so they don't do much of it. But they decided to do one like 3 weeks ago or so, basically looking at an anime tier list. So everyone wants to do a tier list and stuff like that of, I guess, the best anime, the worst anime, the best character, the worst character. And so they decided to do, we're going to make that stuff. We're going to rank the first episodes of every year's most popular anime from 1961 to 2025. So 1961 to 2025. And first, before we get into it, Mike, did any of you happen to take a little look at it or anything like that?
I haven't. I only saw
I will help you. I'm going to help you then. I saw
very brief snippets.
So I'm going to help you, Mike. I'm going to give you an idea of what I saw in it by going back to the past. So imagine, Mike, we were in Yama. We went back to when I was in, so maybe over 20 years ago, and say
we're talking about closer to 30, by the way.
Well, probably even more. Who knows?
But in my case,
But let's say, and one of the ones, remember, we watched was a favorite of yours, Kimagure Orange Road. So imagine I came in and we decide, well, we're going to watch Kimagure Orange Road.
One episode.
We're going to watch one episode.
We're
going to watch it at 2 times speed, maybe 1.5, 2 times speed. So not at normal speed. And then while we're watching it, I may be on my phone. Now, these guys, they have normal smartphones. Maybe they were on the internet. Maybe they were texting. So back then, I guess I would have been playing Snake on my flip phone or on my Nokia brick or something like that. And then while I'm doing that too, and we're watching this at 2 times speed and stuff like that, I'm also probably having a thing of nachos, Cool Ranch, and some Mountain Dew and eating that and stuff like that. And we go through the whole episode at 2 times speed watching. And then after we finish it, I turn to you and I say to you, Mike, I don't think this anime should exist. It's problematic. This is like promoting teen smoking and stuff like that. You saw what Madoka did. She was smoking.
There are lots of other things I went in her mouth in the course of that series, but okay.
And then after I do all that, I'm going to say, F tier.
Yeah, and then
Oh my god, the
so-
camera actually briefly, so I can see James, and the camera actually briefly zoomed in while he said F tier.
Because I did this moment, I did a motion. Anyway, but that if you saw that, you probably would be a tad offended, right? Maybe.
Oh, James, you saying it the way you did was so surreal.
I think you softened the blow of any offense I might have taken, actually, James.
Well, some of it too is they were doing, I guess. I haven't watched Mr. Beast. I know we've all heard of him and stuff like that. And there's a certain segment of YouTube, I guess, that it's like that short form type of thing. It's all this hype and excitement and things like that. And like, it's like bang, bang, bang. It's like all that. And you're just watching and you're just like, do you guys even care? And it's like a lot of the ones from the 1960s, like they had Astro Boy. They didn't even realize it was Astro Boy because remember it was Atom Tetsuken and stuff like that.
Tetsuwan Atom, I think.
Tetsuwan Atom. And they just threw into the F tier and stuff like that. And it's funny, like they had Evangelion into the C tier, the original Evangelion, but they had done a music video on that and stuff like that in cosplay and stuff. Like it's like, and they were only doing one episode. A lot of these were 1.5. Dear Brother, they had a meltdown over Dear Brother. It's like, oh my god, dude, these are groomers and gropers and all this other stuff. It was just,
a part of me wonders if they actually did this with the intention to make rage bait content, if only because, as we've said before, that kind of content generates engagement, and that's what YouTube wants.
Now that is the interesting part of the picture, because we could say that and you could have that feeling and stuff like that. And it was like, you see like all this excitement. So it's like Naruto, obviously that's S tier. Death Note, obviously that's S tier. So some of the ones were the more modern ones that, and during the video, one of the guys, like, I can't remember, they couldn't even find, because what they were watching, it wasn't like official content, a lot of them. I think they were just going online to find it. So they couldn't find an episode 1 of Inuyasha in English, sub or dub. It's like, how can you not have that happen? It's Inuyasha.
It didn't look hard enough. And that's so sad that they couldn't find some illegal streaming site that had it.
And they fell asleep during one episode, one of the guys, and then it just was like rake after rake they were stepping on. And so obviously it just kind of grew, and people were pissed because they're like, okay, we've been talking about tourists. These are tourists. And they just were pointing at them. And so I think they probably kind of took it to heart. They probably went around and talked to some people. So this week, so a week ago, they released an apology video. They have not taken down the other video that inflamed people, so that's good on them. Some people might just take it down and say it never existed.
I'd like the reference points anyway, just for reference, right?
See, so the thing too is that Joey has like worked with them before, in terms of like certain panels at anime cons.
And I know he did a response video, but didn't mention them, so that could make sense.
Yeah, so this was brought up in the podcast like years ago, that like Joey knows who they are. They've met before in person at conventions. Like the AnimeMen are supposedly like good dudes, like, you know, in that sense. Like, you know, they're not like total douchebags.
But they're for a different set of fans and stuff like that.
Yeah, like they're for today's young fan, and that's fine.
But they definitely missed the mark and should have. And I think they realized, you know, we kind of look like we weren't respecting what came before, and that we
not kind of. They looked like they did not respect the art form before. Not kind of. They didn't.
And
I was being generous.
They admitted to that in that second video, which I watched.
And that's what I was saying. There was an apology. It looks like no, it depends on how you want to take it, as some people said, but it looks like there was contrition, there was understanding, and now it's like we'll have to see how they do in the future with their long form videos. You know what I mean? If they want to do any long form videos in the future. It's interesting, like that first video, one of the guys even admitted he didn't like anime before 2020. That I know inflamed people and stuff like that. There was a thing also I know with the apology video that they were going back, I guess, to look at some different animes and stuff like that. But it's like, were they doing it to find what was good and learn and stuff like that? Or was it like, I'm just doing my homework too, right? So
I think that this definitely is, it ranks up there on my top 10 anime betrayals, for sure.
I see. Maybe this is a good thing about being old myself. I don't pay attention in this case. So ignorance, I guess, is bliss in this sense. But hey,
what does Mo have to say? Mo came up there for a sec.
I was gonna say, so are we mad at them for having the views they have in regards to anime of old?
Controversy creates cash sometimes, right?
Even if they didn't believe the words that they were saying and weren't putting the effort they're putting into it, I mean, I feel like they should have the right to have the ignorant views they have on old anime, right?
Well,
let's just say they found out for other fans that maybe are tad ignorant, maybe, and hopefully they'll learn from that and like take some good thoughts from it and explore some different anime, and hopefully before they say it shouldn't exist or whatever, they'll give it a chance.
I'm going to take the bait, Mo. So that means some affiliates are refusing to show that video now?
Oh, I believe so, yes.
Oh my god. I thought all the affiliates had finally come in line and said they would allow it, Mike. Come on.
So the way I see it was that, yeah, they were ignorant about stuff. Whether that was intentional or whether there was intention to be like contrarian or not, I guess could be left to interpretation because they are young. I think that if they were truly out there to generate like rage content, they succeeded. But as you said, James, like they apologize, so that's fine. But I'm just like, you know what I also think though? Like I hear this and I just think, man, you kids have it so easy nowadays. Like you couldn't find episode of Inuyasha. Kids don't struggle the way that we struggled. They have a different kind of struggle.
When I was your age,
You actually watched the whole episode without doing 1.5 and 2 times the speed, huh?
So yeah, I've never 1.5 because that option did not exist for us back then.
Not in this way, not without turning off the sound.
I had to watch Oran host Club in 3 parts on YouTube, uphill both ways.
Yeah,
I couldn't even do that. I had no patience for the 3-part shit. I remember, but weirdly enough, because I was a teenager and wanted to see animated boobs, I spent a whole week torrenting the first season of Girls Bravo because it was the uncut version, and I couldn't find it. I couldn't find direct downloads of it online for the uncut, so I spent a whole week to download the uncut version.
Good.
So
Lord.
as much as, I think that their initial video was foolish, immature, lazy, and they admitted to all that in their apology video, well edited, fine. And I think I've probably mentioned this in the past, but I'm not in love with the term tourist. I think it is, goes into the gatekeeping zone and the fake fan, type of realm, which I'm definitely not a fan of. If someone only wants to watch Jujutsu Kaisen, fine. If someone wants to wear a Harley Quinn shirt without ever watching Batman the Animated Series, good for them.
Yes.
I'm like with the tourist, like whatever. Like if I don't like that whole approach, and also factoring in here, these are like, how many are there? Like 8, 9, however many AnimeMen there are. But we have
6 in the video. Yes.
Yeah. But so it's it is in their name, right? Like it's 6, young cis men, from what I can gather. Like the diversity of opinions isn't that strong. I'm sure. I'm guessing based off of, they have this friendship, they're going to share a lot of the same preferences. They're not, they're not going to have the same anime preferences of, a 40-year-old woman or a 6-year-old boy. Like, it's a pretty, narrow view of what is an incredibly broad medium. Like, even with their apology video, they're giving, mostly a bunch of shonen and, a few others like Eva. And
they talked about Gundam, yeah.
Yeah, like, they're not watching, your Japan Sinks. They're not watching that. They watch Devilman.
Mm-hmm.
They're not watching Devilman Crybaby. They're not watching, Doraemon. Like,
or Orb.
Yeah, like, it's
or Orb or like
Tommy
Odd
Galaxy.
Taxi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's, they're being very specific with the kind of things that they're watching.
Great Pretender.
So I think, calm down. If anyone is, too upset about this, just, watch Mother's Basement or something. Like, if you want, like, more thoughtful observations. Zan in Canada, if we're going local and sort of friends of the podcast, like, there's other sources of anime fan content if you don't want to be angry. People can be tourists. It's lame. Just live your own life.
I see that word being used in the VTuber space as well.
Tourist?
No, it seems like it's like, I want to say since 2020, but I feel like I started here maybe even a bit before that. It was always that head scratcher where I was like, well, when we were getting into different things, whatever that hobby was, I felt like we explored some things we may like, some things we may not like, but I don't think we went. I feel like they're, more aggressive and stuff like that about
and I'll say
their
this,
feelings or their opinions. You know what I mean?
And guess
and
what
I'll
they're
say
going
this
to
when
be
it comes to. Oh yeah, you go on. You finish.
Guess what they're going to be if they go to Japan? A tourist. Like,
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Like, you have those people from Kick and Rumble and all that went to Japan, Korea, and then they make fools of themselves. And it's like, well, how are you making life better for any of us? You're just going to make it worse because they're going to think we're just as terrible, right? It's like, show some human respect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to go Johnny Somali here. So,
oh yeah.
Well, that's more the extreme, but
that is an
you know what I mean? At least don't put any like I heart whatever on a sacred temple or on a tourist site or anything like that. And that has happened from regular tourists from abroad, even Canadians, unfortunately.
Even Canadians.
And this is obviously like, and I was just gonna say, this is very like social media driven. So like, I only really see this kind of talk brought up like with tourists and whatnot. I only ever see this brought up on like forums or
seems
Twitter.
Very online. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I just watching them. Like, am I living in a weird alternate universe and stuff like that? And I just scratch my head and I continue on and stuff like that. But it was just an interesting confluence of this happening, and then it was like the aha, and it's like, well, they just unfortunately were a little ignorant, but at least they took it hopefully as a learning moment. They kept the video up. They had a follow-up apology video, and they're going to learn from it. If they can still do what they want to do with the short form content on TikTok, on YouTube Shorts, to the generation that wants that content, it's not for us. But if they want to do some long-term content, maybe learn to do some other things or try something different. If they want to do a tier list, maybe just do 1 year, or maybe just do 1 decade and do something simple instead of 1 episode. Maybe a movie for each year of a decade, right?
Mm-hmm. I guess the only thing I'll say, one, if you don't like it, don't tune in or don't watch. There's plenty of other stuff to watch. Whether it's formal or fan generated or social media type content. But I mean, there was a part. Remember, I was thinking about this. Remember when the documentary for Primetime Sports, I think it was called Pant Load, before Bob McCown was taken off the air. What they revealed in all of that, one thing that they sort of hinted at in all of that was the way Bob McCown's personality was on on Primetime Sports, on his radio show. And I'd been led to believe after watching that some of that was contrived. Like he just, he did it to shock people, to get people angry. Like Bob McCown was the way he was in that documentary or in that show because he likes to get people engaged, maybe even enraged. So some of it was a bit of an act. And I look back on, like, just as I hear this story and wonder what the motivation was with these guys, right? Were they out to shock, or were they out to try and, actually be serious or prove a point or something?
They were out to make money. They were there to get views.
The thing is, most of their content, we said they have like 4.5 million, all that. Yeah, a lot of people reacted, even Joey reacted and stuff like that. The AnimeMen himself, even though he didn't mention them by name. But I would say realistically, what they're about, as many people said, was the short form content and all that other stuff on the TikTok, on the YouTube shorts. They don't have as much on the long form side in the videos and stuff like that. And so it's like, okay, yeah, we're going to do the long form video. Yeah, they probably are inspired by Mr. Beast and all that stuff. And yeah, someone probably threw out that, oh, we can just do a tier list on anime kind of from the beginning of time, the 60s to now and stuff like that. And it's the other thing of, we hear about these content creators, the churn. They got to get something out and stuff like that to keep them relevant in the quote unquote algorithm and stuff like that, and keep engaged and stuff like that. So some of that gets put in there too and stuff like that. But they definitely got engagement and stuff like that. And now they have engagement with the second video. So now the ball's in their court if they still want to do long form videos and stuff like that. And the scary thing is, when we are saying long form videos, we're saying something like 15 minutes and above, right?
But this was longer. Sounds like this was a bit longer. I will, the other, so maybe it is, ends justify the means, or controversy does create cash. Amy, I want to bring this up one more time because we just passed the anniversary. Because when you brought up the whole, wearing a Harlequin outfit, having never seen Batman, you made me reflect. We have just passed, once again, we had just passed the first anniversary of Rachel Lillis's passing. And remember when I talked about her, I talked about how she fanned out at Fan Expo and what became Fan Expo back in 1999. She had just played Utena, and she came and Yama's founder introduced Rachel to one of her friends. And that friend was wearing a rose ring from Utena. And Rachel just became a fangirl at that moment. And the thing was, the friend who was wearing that ring, she had never seen an episode of Utena. She just thought the design was cool. And maybe, it just made me think of that moment again, right? When you brought that all up. I get the feeling if I watched the list, those same shows, I would just say, okay, is that something I could get into, but probably not slam it, because I said this also during that the Access Japan 2000 panel. I said, well, you weren't going to get your Ghost in the Shells without seeing Kimba or old obscure 60s animated films, right? You weren't going to get the stuff that we fell in love with if the other stuff didn't come first. So I guess I can see how ultimately what they did elicited the reactions, but that's part of being young, and that's part of the consumers being young. And I'd like to think when you get old enough, come on, man, just chill, just relax. So, and maybe sometimes you get surprised.
It's the internet, Mike. For people like us that go outside, and the people that are younger, they aren't chill on the internet, as we know. One day we hope.
One day we hope.
But if we want to talk about real places, I heard, Kevin, you didn't go to Fan Expo, huh? You gave up on Fan Expo, and you went to a real anime convention, I hear. You went somewhere else.
It sounds like you betrayed your country, man.
Okay, Kevin, tell me about AnimeNYC. Yes, you went there. You did not on the same weekend, right? We talked about this.
I'm not sure not going to Fan Expo is betraying a country, considering how.
Considering the debate.
I was going to say it could have been worse. Mo could have said you are betraying Bell. What would Bell do if you weren't there to give them more money?
Like Fan Expo is American, right?
Well, keep in mind. On the topic of who owns them now. Like we really wonder how much of a solid that Fan Expo has done for the anime world, and that's another debate. Okay, you want to say something about AnimeNYC right now, Kevin, or about the experience?
Okay, so long as there's no anime industry people going to Fan Expo, I don't think I'll ever go back at this point.
But I think they're probably going to go to NYC because it sounds like it's kind of become the anime expo of the East Coast, so to speak. That's kind of what they've made it into, right? Or no?
So that's the thing. So you know how the 1 year Crunchyroll actually came up here? That was because AnimeNYC was held in, I want to say, November.
And that's where they started. And then they said, I guess they felt the weather in New York wasn't that great then, so they decided to make it even more painful for you because I know it can get very sweltering in August, right?
Yes, it can. And essentially, they decided to move to end of August or mid-late August.
This is going to be a permanent thing.
It seems permanent at the moment.
It is permanent, I'd say so.
And so a friend of the show, his New Year's resolution was to try and go to Anime Expo and this con. That's what he decided to do. He wanted to go to the two US cons. So in January, we bought our tickets for this con. Because I already did not have confidence that I would be going to Fan Expo, because Fan Expo nowadays does not have that much anime content. They don't get a lot of guests when it comes to the Japanese creation side. They haven't in 10 plus years now. So even though back in January, I didn't know who was going to be a guest there, I figured, you know what? I've been wanting to go for a while, so let's do it. And of course, this was the year that they added the fourth day, so the weekend ticket was very expensive. But so be it. That's the choice we made. And, you know, I never thought I'd see Jam Project perform live, but I did at AnimeNYC. I never thought I'd see Yoko Takahashi perform live, but I did at AnimeNYC. But I also saw her in Toronto the following week. She did do the symphony, did the Evangelion orchestra.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
We didn't get a chance to mention that, but yeah.
Now, was that a part of your ticket, Kevin, or did you have to pay extra to see some of the musical acts? Because sometimes they do that, right?
Yoko Takahashi did charge extra. I think I paid an extra $40 US to attend that panel / mini concert. Jam Project was free.
Oh, that's nice.
Now, the thing was that if you want the VIP seating, you had to like I think pay for that, but there was the option of going in for free. It's just the line would have been longer, so there was a risk you couldn't get in. But a friend of mine was nice enough to gift me a VIP seat that he happened to have a spare of, so I got to sit at the very front.
Not bad. Good.
And then never thought I'd see the Japanese voice actor for Seto Kaiba, Kenjiro Suda.
Wow, Yu-Gi-Oh. Okay, cool.
He's done recent voice acting for newer shows. I just don't know them off the top of my head.
Still,
but I saw him in AnimeNYC.
Landmark character, though. Landmark character.
Other people were there too. So Crystal K actually popped in after her concert in New York. She did a couple of meet and greets there.
What else do you have to add? That's the thing. I mean,
I also I miss the corporate presence of an anime con. I'll be honest.
Interesting way to put it. And that's an ongoing discussion, obviously, especially when you use the Anime North comparison. But,
and I love Anime North, but I realized that so long as the current administration is at Anime North, we will never get those kinds of guests there in any meaningful capacity.
That is, you know this, Kevin.
I do know this, and I know why.
Yeah,
and I'm okay with this now.
That's another discussion, right?
As you say, different conventions have different, how they run, and we enjoy them for all their different things. And as you said, AnimeNYC, I'm sure it was going to have you knew there was going to be a good guest list. It was just a matter of waiting and see who was going to show up. And then they obviously had a contingent of VTubers, I heard, because I know someone was going from the West Coast just to go and see some VTubers over there too. I forget who was there though exactly.
Yeah, I never thought I'd meet VTubers in person, but I did at AnimeNYC as well.
And that was cool.
And I'm not big and small.
Mm-hmm.
And I did meet VTubers I've watched, like I regularly watch, which was a very interesting experience. It was a good time. Yeah, like I met a very popular one, and then I met a smaller creator that I do watch regularly. So that was pretty cool. It really was.
Well,
and it also proved to me. It also confirmed to myself that I don't care about the whole immersion thing, because for some people they can't. They feel like they can't do that because it breaks the whole immersion of the experience, so to speak. And to me, it doesn't matter. I'm there for the personality in the end. Never thought I'd meet Shiwasuno Okina in person, but I did at AnimeNYC and got something autographed as well. That was that was a big stroke of luck because so that was the one autograph I really wanted. So Shiwasuno Okina is a hentai manga artist or ero manga artist. Popular one known for creating works like Say Cheese. Or,
I guess that was J18. He's come to the US quite a bit and stuff like that. You must enjoy J18 and what they've done because he's been to California a number of times and I guess there. So, but I know he's probably. So, how long was his line, Kevin? Then
it was decently long. So he was one of the guests where you had to be lucky to get a ticket in a draw.
Oh, that's how J18 did. Okay.
Yeah, they were.
Hopefully, they were a little better than Anime Expo. I heard Anime Expo ran into issues with their guest tickets for signings.
There were a number of guests where you had to enter lottery and be lucky to get a ticket to then, which is it was a free ticket, but you had to get the ticket to then join the autograph line, or else you can't get one.
Hopefully it was better than when we went to TCAF. Remember, Kevin? And we got a number, and we were waiting for them to yell it at us in a parquet.
Yeah. Anyway. And you know what? What was also cool was never thought I'd see an episode of Panty and Stocking with Hiroyuki Imaishi also there in the crowd, or more like on the stage.
Yeah, because they had Studio Trigger, or some of their people were there too, right?
Yep.
So yeah, they had definitely some panels.
It just sounds like
I saw that at AnimeNYC, and I bring this up too because my friend pulled the Shiwasuno Okina lottery ticket, And then I didn't know until Thursday when I landed that I actually pulled the Hiroyuki Maishi Studio Trigger autograph ticket. And so an exchange was made.
Nice work.
Yep, he was pretty happy to get the Trigger autograph.
That's good then. It just sounded like you had a good time, and well, don't know what else.
Yeah,
to
I had
add.
I had a really good time overall. Like, it's, other than that, it's just like any other big con. Like, you could argue that it's basically like a fan expo in terms of scope and size.
But
we're able to move around and get around to the different places, because you know how when they're that big, it's like, okay, can I actually get to the place to get an autograph, or can I get to that panel, right?
Mm-hmm.
It got crowded at times. Like, there were definitely very crowded parts and moments, which is to be expected.
Mm-hmm. Oh, clarify again. Did you fly or drive there? Oh, you flew, right?
I would never drive there.
Okay.
I would only consider driving if I'm with a few people.
Oh, that's okay. Hey,
then I can treat
also
that as an
having driven to New
experience.
York, yeah, it's a nice drive.
There's also like a bus or a train, but it would probably take you a bit of time there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like a 8 to 9 hour bus ride that I don't want to do. I've done overnight bus because I'd have to do it overnight because it makes logistical sense to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just cannot sleep on an overnight bus. Ever since I remember my first overnight bus ride was the year the Greyhound murder happened.
Oh, gee,
in the
thanks.
prairies. So that was not pleasant. I just cannot fall asleep. I get less than an hour's sleep at best on an overnight bus ride, so I can't do that.
There's things that can help with that.
What would that be, Mohamed?
I know some medications you can ask about.
Anyway,
and honestly, it's really I actually got to see like a bit, like, you see companies there that you would never see up here, like whether it's anime or manga companies, or those mobile gaming companies will have their booths there. Like, some of the VTuber companies are there. So HoloEye was there. There was a stamp rally that we did to get some prizes. Phase Connect was there. So you can buy merch from them, and I think they also did have a couple TVs hooked up, so like some of their talent were streaming.
I can guess which VTuber company that doesn't exist was not there, Kevin.
Yeah, they were not there. Yes, I know which one you're talking about.
Anyway,
also
finish up in a bit, by the way.
And also, never thought I'd get Kengo Hanazawa's autograph, but I got it at AnimeNYC. He came with it was a mix of Kodansha and Denpa that were able to get him to come over.
Yeah, I thought that there was a bit of that because, they have, what was it? Under Ninja, obviously, is the current one. And I think Kodansha's doing it digitally, but obviously them have the physical. And then even then, they still have, what was it? I Am Hero or whatever that Dark Horse had released before and stuff like that. So I'm not sure who's doing that digitally, if it's still with Dark Horse or if it's with Kodansha now.
It's in limbo right now.
But that one, it'd be interesting to see how many would have went to see his panel, or how many people came up to get a signing from him. Hopefully, he's getting more fans.
Yeah,
Anyway.
So it's just, honestly, what it really is for me is that it was just the opportunity to engage with creators, as a way to engage with industry people that rarely happens up in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Even walking through Artist Alley, you see so many talented people that just you would never get to see otherwise, because they live 8 hours away.
Actually, think about Kevin, since you were in New York City and they did have it there, did you go to the Kodansha pop-up shop or whatever that they had opened? Remember, and they had the different creators that had been going through it and stuff like that.
No, wasn't able to do that. I know they're doing another event this fall. I think next month even. They're bringing a few creators. Like, I think even
and it's
Atsushi
outside the
Okubo.
conventions. I know they're bringing creators outside of regular conventions to there.
Yeah,
so.
like I think Atsushi Okubo, creator of Soul Eater and Fire Force, will be there, and I think I'm trying to think if the Sign of Affection creator is coming or not. I think she might be. I just don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, like I know I had a great time overall. I got to meet some new people. Saw Crystal K like I think on the Thursday or the Friday. So I opted to see her in New York versus in Toronto the Sunday that weekend instead. Also, you know, had some funny moments with like fast food, like
Oh, please don't. That's going to be a long story.
like we went to a pizza place. We thought $3 for a 2-liter bottle of pop was, or $4 for a. Oh no, I think it was $5 or $6 for a 2-liter bottle of pop was too expensive.
Wait, was this in New York?
Yes, we go to CVS, which is like their shoppers, and it was 354 milliliter for $5, and we're like, yep, should have saw that coming. I didn't want to go to White Castle, but my friends did. And I was like, I only will go if we're going to go somewhere else after, because I don't want White House to be the only thing I eat for dinner, because I knew I'd be disappointed, and I was right. We also learned that Jollibee does not have their breakfast menu in New York anymore.
Wow.
Because my friend went all the way to Queens to see if Jollibee had their breakfast menu there, because we knew for sure that they didn't in Manhattan.
Hold on.
Luckily,
Queens, New York?
Yes.
Aren't there like good regular Filipino restaurants to get food from instead of Jollibee?
I'm sure there are, but he really wanted the Jollibee breakfast menu. And hey, you know what?
Like...
That's kind of like...
You know what? If you have he had a mission, he knew what he wanted to do, and he executed almost everything.
Almost.
Because he also wanted to go to Raising Cane's, and he did.
List goes on and on, dude. List goes on and on.
I went to the book off in Brooklyn. That was one of my things that I like to do, but barely was able to make it work. Found Heavenly Delusion Volume 3, which is very out of print right now from Dempa. So I can start buying that series now.
So you did a little book hunting as well. Nice work.
Yes.
Anyway.
Kinokuniya had like a lot of exclusive covers of some works. So they have an exclusive cover for the summer that Hikaru died, for example. They had exclusive cover for Initial D that they still had. I think they even had an exclusive cover for I Hear the Sunspot. Yep. That was the one I was thinking of.
Anyway, we last thought. Give me a last thought. So
to sum it up, yeah, I don't know if I'd go back to Fan Expo.
That's the bottom line, right? And
I really don't know if I would.
And we know the long story behind that. But can we?
Well, it's still probably expensive, probably, to go down to New York City and go for the weekend and do all the things.
But it really is like, so 3 people. So it was myself and 2 other friends. So that made doing a hotel like justifiable, because I really can't justify doing a hotel on my own.
But yeah, well, if you're gonna,
I could air quotes business expense it all I want. It's so hard to justify me doing that, even though I know I have the money to do it.
It's one of those. Well, if you're going to pay that much, you might as well just do it your way, right? And yeah.
Well, there is the cheaper option this November.
Well, let's bring that up before we go tonight, because you see what I have beside me. We're not. There's no video, but there's no video
there. Yeah.
Wait, was it the blender?
Oh, yeah. You can see the blender too. Sure.
Oh my God! Is Alia in the blender?
Not in this case.
What blender is that, out of curiosity?
This is not a blender.
No, the actual blender. Oh, I thought. Oh, that's what he was. I thought you could see the blender on your like kitchen cabinet or something.
Yeah, no, it's a water cooler, but still,
yeah,
it's a cooler. Yeah.
But obviously you know why I have the Alia out. Yeah. Obviously, you see why I had the Alia out. So, just a quick thought. A quick thought for Uesaka Sumire showing up in Toronto in November. Just a thought from you guys.
And you actually saw there was someone else they had just announced, right? They're bringing back Takeshi Takadira as well.
So
that sound director, which I guess Anime
That comes every
Revolution
year.
must have an in with him because
that's
he's
par for
come
the
to
course.
the previous
That's par
ones
for the
in
course.
Vancouver, and I guess he came to the one for Anime
He's come to
Toronto.
Toronto. He's come to Toronto twice.
He's friends with the founders, so he comes every year.
And for
But
Usaka, I know
that's
he's
not to
with,
diminish him. That's not to diminish his accomplishments.
But
That's
it is
just
cool. It is
given a
cool.
fact, yeah.
and he
he
has
enjoys
worked
being
with
around.
Usaka and stuff like that. So you never know. They probably might have a panel together and do something. You know what I mean?
They might do a workshop like we've seen before. Anyway, just a thought on that, and I thought we'd bring it up at least on the podcast side.
There's another anime event in a week or so as well, actually.
Oh, Anime Festa, yeah.
Yeah, the Festa, which is like Anime Fiesta's like bigger convention. They're going to do that at the International Center, I believe.
Oh, cool. West End, still. West End represent. Anyway, those are the thoughts. Tell you what, it is getting a bit late.
I will joke, though, one quick thing, though, Mike. There was another event that Anime Revo Toronto is going up against, and that is I chose to do Anime Revo because, as you said, it's like they get the guests. We know that, so it'll be interesting to go and see what we've heard so far. But the Toronto Game Expo is happening at the X Grounds the same weekend, and I've went there from time to time, and they've been getting bigger. So they used to be in Queen Elizabeth Theatre. Now they're at the Better Living Center, and they're actually, since the last one, they're getting guests like people from California that had voice acted in video games. And then one name kind of stood out to me from my childhood. And yeah, it's no one's really going to care and stuff like that, but I may care a bit. And it was for Toronto Game Expo, they're going to be the Saturday, Sunday, same as for Anime Revolution Toronto, which is the Friday, Saturday, Sunday in November. But Toronto Game Expo, the one name that stood out was Nicolas from Video Arcade Top 10.
Hey!
Wow.
And so
And the former
I was
DJ.
just, and I was just,
DJ
and it's like,
Buffalo.
remember they always used to say, is that his real name? But
Yep, I remember
looked-
that. I remember that
and
too.
remember, so he did that for so many things. He's American, remember. So he's from Western New York. He did that for over 10 years and stuff like that. Went back to Western New York. I know does radio in Western New York.
Yep.
He does
He
DJ
still does
and
radio
all
in New
that.
York, yes. in
He
Western
does
New York.
DJ stuff and all that. And I think he
Yep.
does some DJ stuff with some pregame stuff for the Buffalo Bills, probably in the parking lot for some of the fan events they have there, right? But that would have been interesting to sit down and hear what he had to say from the past. It's like, oh man.
I'm very confident that is not his real name, though.
Anyway, no, but it's interesting.
Well, it
He's
kind of
a-
remind me
yeah,
like when IFF did Phil Guerrero. Remember PJ Phil? Like
yeah,
when they
yeah,
had him,
yeah,
it was kind of
back in the day.
those kind of guests are fun to see once in a while.
Sure.
I don't remember what con it was, but they actually brought the host
Oh
at
yeah,
a local con once.
yeah. Who's long?
Years ago.
Yeah,
They have a good documentary I remember about different game shows, and that's one of the ones they did for and stuff like that. And I forget, he's doing something really interesting. I think it's something spirituality or something like that he does now. So it's very different, and you see him, and it's like, oh yeah, I still have the suits in the closet if anyone wants to see it.
Anyway, but there's what's coming up. Hey, that's still in November. We're just barely ending. September. So we can talk about that again in the near future. All right.
Hey, Mike, quick question before we end.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll hit 100 before or after November?
I'm moving that goalpost to the end of 2025. We might.
Ooh, New Year's. Okay.
So let's do this again pretty soon, okay, guys? Let's do this again soon.
I'm down.
Amy? Up for it again?
I mean, if you can actually start when you say we're going to start, then that would be great.
Well, yeah. And
I'm not going to hold you to finishing when you say you're going to finish. I think that might be too much to ask.
Yeah, that's it.
I came in at 7:30, and then people started showing up.
And
I
then
was expecting just you and me, Mike.
Yeah, but what can you do? Well, and as I said, what we thought would be a space heater turned out to be episode 97. 3 to go before 100. Anyway, that's it, because I have to go to sleep. That's all we got for tonight. If you're on YouTube, please give this a thumbs up or leave us your comments down below, or go to animeroundtable.com for all the ways you can reach us. That also includes the socials, the YouTube, and the Twitch accounts. As for the podcast side, leave us a review if you can, wherever you get your podcasts, as it would greatly help us. Right, Kevin?
You bet it would. And we will... I don't see us going down the path of making our viewers intentionally angry for clicks and views and engagement, but we always do appreciate this kind of feedback because, hey, that's how it boosts us up in visibility. It's true.
You need to either comment or you need to like or dislike. That's what this, and the ball keeps moving.
I just appreciate knowing there's somebody out there. Anyway, hey, since we're on Twitch and YouTube more often now, give us a follow or subscribe there so you can be notified whenever we do something there. Also, if you have a Spotify account, please check out the Anime Roundtable playlist for a list of music based on things we've mentioned on this show. You could have listened to any anime podcast in the world, but you decided to listen to one of the oldest. And we appreciate that. So until next time, thanks for listening. Good night from Toronto. Join us again for another edition of the Anime Roundtable.